All right, so the next section that I want us to go over is basically the properties of isosceles triangles, section 4.4. And we kind of already talked about this in section 4.1, where we can classify whether something is isosceles. So let's kind of get into a little bit more detail about it. So if we talk about the parts of an isosceles triangle, the one thing you have to remember is that as far as the legs are concerned, when they refer to the legs, they refer to the two sides that are the same value, or in other words, the congruent sides. All right. The vertex of an isosceles triangle, the angle that's referring to is the one that's right in between the two congruent sides. So that's the angle where the legs intersect. Okay, the base angle of an isosceles triangle is the one that's opposite of wherever that vertex is. All right, so the side opposite of the vertex. And then the base angles are really the two angles that are kind of like opposite of where those congruent sides are, or the angles that are pretty much attached to the base. So let's just say instead angles along the base. Okay. Now some theorems you have to make sure you understand is that for the isosceles triangle, if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite of those sides are congruent as well. So essentially what you need to understand is that if these sides of the isosceles triangle are congruent, so this is congruent to that, then the two base angles, right, or the angles that are opposite of those are also congruent. So angle 2 is going to be the same value as angle 3. And this one is pretty much saying the opposite of that. If two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite of those, this should say angles, my bad, are congruent. All right, so make sure you fix that because I don't want you to get those confused. So let's kind of see how we're going to answer some of these questions with those theorems in mind. So first of all, it says find the two missing angle measures for each triangle. Well, right here you can see that we have these two sides that are congruent. That means that the corresponding base angles are also congruent. So if this is 68 degrees, then this is also 68 degrees. And the other thing, and you should have remembered this from one of the previous sections, is that if you have two angles in a triangle, we can easily find the third one by subtracting them from 180 degrees because the three angles have to equal 180. So I know that angle K is equal to 180 minus 68 minus 68. And that's equal to, I wish I could do this off the top of my head, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my calculator. 180 minus 68 minus 68, that's supposed to be 68, is equal to 44 degrees. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this one. So first of all, this is 106 degrees. Now, here we only have one angle, so it's going to be a little bit tough to know what the other two angles are without knowing that. But you should remember that this angle right here and this angle right here should be the same value. And since we don't know what they are, I'll just call them x. So we can actually set up a really simple equation here. We can do the two angles plus the last angle equals 180 degrees. So now we just do our basic algebra. We have 2x plus 106 is equal to 180. If I subtracted 106 from both sides, I have 2x is equal to 74. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x is equal to 74 degrees. So there you have it. So we have this is 106, this is 74, and this is also 74. No, I'm sorry. 74 divided by 2 is not 74. It's actually 37. My bad. Going too fast here. 37. Forgive me for that. All right. So let's go ahead and look at example 2. So find the value of x, then find the measure of each angle. Well, right here we have an isosceles triangle, and what we have to remember about an isosceles triangle is that the two base angles are going to be the same, or the ones that are opposite of the congruent sides. So if I know that these two are the same value, then we know we can set them equal to each other to solve for x. So I have 9x minus 33 is equal to 4x plus 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my algebra. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, add 33 to both sides. So now I have 5x is equal to 40. So when I divide both sides by 5, I get x is equal to 8. So now if I know that x is equal to 8, well, I can figure, I'll just plug it into one of these. So I'll plug in x into this. So we know that this is 9, now that we know that x is 8 minus 33. So that's going to be, what's 9 times 8 minus 33? Gives us 39 degrees for this angle. Nice thing is, if we know that this is 39 and this is the same value, that's also going to be 39. And then this angle, well, that's going to be easily found by subtracting 180 by both of these angles, minus 39 minus 39. So 180 minus 39 is 102 degrees. Okay. Pretty straightforward. And then last but not least, we have this triangle. And again, kind of what we were saying, if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite of those angles are also congruent. So if I know that these two angles are congruent, then that means that these two sides have to be congruent as well. So if I wanted to solve for x, that's really simple. I just set them equal to each other. I have 15x plus 7 is equal to 23x minus 17. And now it's just, the algebra that we're hopefully good at by now. So I'm going to add 17 to both sides. I'll also subtract 15x on both sides at the same time. Those cancel, and now I have 24 is equal to 8x. Divide both sides by 8, and you should get x equals 3. All right. Nice little short video for you guys. So hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it made sense. And if not, again, you're more than welcome to ask any of us any questions. Take care.